An Appleton hotel may continue managing the Fox Cities Exhibition Center as negotiations continue on a long-term contract. The Hilton Paper Valley Hotel telling Action 2 News this afternoon it is working on an extension to manage the space as the current agreement is set to expire tomorrow. City of Appleton officials say the extension of the current agreement is not yet finalized, but if signed, it would last through April of next year. According to the statement from the hotel, city officials presented the terms of a new agreement in late October. Hotel leaders say several important details, quote, still require alignment, end quote. We remain committed to reaching an agreement that supports both the long-term success of the facility and the continued economic and cultural benefits it brings to the citizens of Appleton, end quote. That's from the Director of Business Development.